All right, everybody. Good afternoon. What is going on? Hope you guys are doing well. And since it is Tuesday after a Seahawks game, may as well keep things up. I know that the season is over, and I know that this kind of stuff doesn't quite resonate as much, but in a way, maybe it should resonate even more. Youth Watch Tuesday is what we typically do today. And look, you look at this team up and down. They had a lot of guys on rookie contracts or the equivalent of a rookie contract play big time for them in the Super Bowl. So that means something. I know it doesn't mean the same things that it meant during the regular season, but getting to this game, getting to this stage, and still seeing these younger players really just grind it out for you, it does show how healthy this organization is right now. So let's go ahead and go through one final Youth Watch Tuesday this season. Nothing to say about Jalen Milroe. He did not play. He was not active, did not get on the field, so nothing there. All right, guys, hold up because my friends at Sleeper are introducing some new features, and I want to tell you guys about them before we go any further. Sleeper is launching Team Picks, a new prediction market product. So now, on top of all the over-unders you can pick over on their Sleeper app, you can now pick on games. For instance, if you take a look to my left on the screen right now, you can see you can make a pick on the Super Bowl. They also have some bonuses available on over-unders for players. So there's now way more stuff you can get up to over on Sleeper. Get on over there before the Super Bowl, and don't forget to use the promo code SBN for a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. And don't forget to utilize the free $20 entry that you get just for making an account. So the Super Bowl is almost here. Make sure you get on Sleeper and have some fun with sports. All right, so one guy who did do a lot in that Super Bowl and throughout the postseason run, Ken Walker. I don't need to say it, Super Bowl MVP, but the playoff run in general, averaged about 25 touches a game and over 400 yards, one of the best playoff runs any Seahawks player has ever had. I don't know if that's a franchise record, but it may very well be. In fact, off the top of my head, I think it would almost have to be. When have we ever had a running back or receiver get 417 yards from scrimmage in one postseason run? And every game was good too, and he had the 4 touchdowns, 90.2 PFF. The only thing that really held him back in the Super Bowl was the drop, and then he had a breakdown in pass coverage. But other than that, it doesn't get much better than that. And if that was his last game as a Seahawk, I really hope it's not at this point, but it was a really good way to go out. Charbonnet didn't play. Halani played a little bit, and he did his best, man. He did his best. All I can ask for here. George Halani is not a great player. He's not some elite running back. He's probably never going to be like a rotational running back, somebody who gets a couple hundred touches a season, but he did one or two things in that game that caught my attention a little bit, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it because every little bit helps, especially in an NFC Championship game as close as that game was. But even on the Super Bowl, he had that one nice play right before half. All right, that's it for the running backs. JSN, quiet game for him, 4 catches, 27 yards or something. Had a drop, just not really his day. There were a few different reasons why. Darnold was off on some of his throws to him. JSN also didn't necessarily play the best. But I don't really feel like it was anything necessarily wrong that he was doing other than maybe the drop. Still ended up having a good postseason, almost 200 yards, couple touchdowns, 82.6. I mean, some days it's not going to be your day, and at the end of the day, he's a champion, and he showed up for the real Super Bowl. Like, I think we're all pretty much on board with the idea that the NFC Championship game was the real Super Bowl. So it's whatever, but not his best game. Jake Bobo, not much from him this week. Got on the field, which was an accomplishment because he broke his hand 2 weeks ago. But excuse me. But no targets. AJ Barner, though, had his best game of the postseason. Was not used a lot in those first couple of games. But in this game, he got targeted a good amount, brought in several catches, including kind of the game. It was pretty much the game clinching touchdown, or it felt like it. It technically wasn't, but at 19-0, you felt like that thing was over, and he blocked really well the whole postseason. 68.7, getting a really good second year from him. Very crucial to what this team did in 2025. Arroyo played a little bit, did not get targeted. Not much to say here. Just not really an opportunity to contribute very much. And look, it's his first game back after being out for nearly 2 months. If I was Sam Darnold, I wouldn't necessarily be looking his way either. Offensive line, really cool stuff here for the most part. Charles Cross did allow a couple pressures through, or actually, I think he only allowed one. Graded extremely well, and he's going to be the Seahawks left tackle for a long time. And right now, that's looking pretty sweet to me, and I think most Seahawks fans are happy with that too. Gray Zabel, he had a handful of pressures allowed, still graded quite well, and he ended up having a nice postseason. This is much better grading than the grading that he had in the regular seasons, which indicates that he learned quickly and that he got better as the season went on, and he's ready to dominate in year 2. So, cool stuff there. Jalen Sundell, on the other hand, not a very good Super Bowl from him. Had a penalty, allowed, I think, 3 pressures, graded pretty lacklusterly. Not terrible or anything, but it was not the best showing of his abilities, because I do think Sundell's a pretty decent center, but did not look great. I didn't necessarily expect him to look great going up against that New England front. Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, that's a tough one, so I get it. But it does leave the door open for the team to consider an upgrade this offseason. Anthony Bradford certainly played bad. He allowed 2 pressures and a sack. His run block grade was okay, so that was whatever, but his pass blocking the whole postseason was atrocious. And it's getting, I don't know if there's going to be the opportunity to upgrade from Bradford this offseason, but I needed to see a little bit more stability from him. I understand that he has good highlights. I know that Bradford can put some good tape up there, but we're in year 3 now. This was the end of year 3 for Bradford, and we have no stability. You don't know what you're going to get from play to play. Some plays he'll look great. Some plays he'll look like the worst player in the NFL. And you can't. I feel like you need to be a little bit more reliable. Even if the highlights go away, I need those lowlights to not be so profane. So I don't think we're going to be able to replace him this offseason because the position's kind of difficult. But I was hoping for him to show signs, kind of like Zabel did, that he had made strides forward. He's a right guard allowing 10 pressures in 3 games. Right guards go up against nose tackles and nose guards and one techs. Not supposed to happen. Oluwatimi played a little bit at the end of the game. Not much to say. He was graded well for the postseason, but it doesn't really mean anything because it was all trash yards. Or trash time, rather, excuse me. Defensively, Byron Murphy, one of the best games of his career. Graded well by PFF, 2 sacks. He recovered a fumble, had, I think, what was it, 3 or 4 tackles? Yeah, no, it was just the 2. So he made the most of his tackles, and there are a lot of reps you can see where he's clogging the holes against the run. And I think that you could make an argument he should have been Super Bowl MVP. If it wasn't Walker, then Murphy, I think, would have been in bringing up second place. So we are going places with this guy. And Mike Morris, by the way, it was garbage time, but he played a little bit at the end. He picked up a tackle. I noticed him a little bit. And I think that he is a valued part of this team. If only because of special teams, but it's kind of nice to have a guy who can play on the line and at edge a little bit as well. He's not great at either, but he can do it. It's nice to have guys like that. Linebacker Tyrese Knight picked up a special teams tackle, almost knocked himself out of the game. He had a good postseason in general, though. It wasn't a big sample size, but I like what Tyrese Knight's doing. Hopefully he can come back strong in 2026. Drake Thomas, 6 tackles. Not a great game or anything like that in the Super Bowl, but he wasn't on the field a lot. He did his job in general. I think he had an okay postseason. 65.2. I wasn't expecting much from Drake Thomas this year anyway, so getting competent play from him to me is a win, and I want to bring him back next year at this point and see if he can improve. And you've got a nice little positional battle there with Knight and Thomas. In my mind, that battle should produce a quality starter for you next year, no matter what. Okay, edge rusher Boye Mafe had a tackle and generally played fairly well. I do want to give him some credit here because I think he's probably gone this offseason, but I do think he went out on a little bit of a high note. I'm not going to say he was great or anything, but generally speaking, I think he did his job and did some positive things and played well. And Derick Hall, I imagine he'll be back next year unless we trade him. Played one of the best games of his career. 2 sacks, forced a fumble that really kind of flipped the game. Well, not flipped the game, but it was kind of the first moment where you really felt like the game was getting away from the Patriots. He was awesome. And it was not a great regular season for Derick Hall overall, but man, if we could if this is like the beginning of him at least turning into like an 8 sack a year guy, then you've got something there. That is something worth keeping around. That is something of value. Cornerback, Reek Woolen, not his best. He gave up the touchdown, which was kind of sort of in garbage time, but not really. It's not like he was playing soft and gave it to him for free. It was a ball that they hit over the top. So can't really absolve him of blame there. Overall, the postseason for Woolen was, I mean, there's ups and downs, obviously. There's some stuff you like, some stuff you don't like. 8 tackles, 4 passes broken up, no picks. Really struggled to finish plays with interceptions this year, which is kind of his calling card. But look, I'm not going to sit here and act like he's going to be easy to replace, but I do think we're going to have to replace him. And there's part of me that is kind of relieved that we're not going to have to worry about Woolen going forward anymore if we do let him go, but don't think that coverage talent is going to be easy to replicate. Okay, so Witherspoon also played really, really well. Didn't get graded very well, and, everybody's gonna have their own reason as to why. I know he gave up some stuff in coverage. I think he missed a tackle, but he had a sack, he had a quarterback hit that forced an incomplete, and he had a quarterback hit that forced a interception that ended the game. So, he also had a pass breakup, a bunch of tackles in this game. Let me make sure I get the number right here. Yeah, 4. Great postseason for him overall. I know the Rams beat up on him a little bit, but honestly, sometimes there's just not much you can do, and a lot of that was because he kept falling down. I'm willing to write that off as a little bit of a fluke. I'm willing to not go at Witherspoon too hard over stuff like that. So, great postseason. And finally, safety, Kobe Bryant, one of the underrated elements of this team in the postseason. Pro Football Focus can continually put him among our best players. They didn't ever really even test him in coverage, it felt like. None of the teams we played really went at Kobe. 2 pass breakups, almost had a pick in the Super Bowl. 10 tackles overall, and he had 4 in this Super Bowl. And then you have Nick Eman-Wari, who did not have a big flashy game, but he played solidly. He played fine. PFF grade was okay, and overall in the postseason, this guy's still 21 years old, or I think he just actually turned 22. Maybe it was yesterday. I'm not 100% sure on that, but Eman-Wari, the fact that he's a reliable part of a defense and in many ways the linchpin of a defense this good at this age, the rest of the league should be terrified. And I know he didn't make any huge plays in this game, but make no mistake, the fact that this team is able to live in nickel and dime and still be dominant against the run comes back to Nick Eman-Wari and what he does. All right, so that's going to be it for Youth Watch Tuesday for today and for the season. This team got phenomenal production out of their young players all year. Ken Walker, Zach Charbonnet, JSN, I mean, of course, JSN, AJ Barner, up and down the offensive line, Byron Murphy, Drake Thomas, Reek Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, Kobe Bryant, Eman-Wari. It is night and day from 4 or 5 years ago. I remember doing videos like this and videos that are literally this 4 years ago. We had nobody on rookie deals making big contributions to this team. And look at where we are now. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. More stuff coming soon. But that is your final Youth Watch Tuesday.